What's up, everybody? How's it going? With so many layoffs happening in tech right now, I figured that it would be a good idea to make a video sharing a step-by-step guide on what to do after you've been laid off. Now, obviously, this is not a carved-in-stone, be-all, end-all guide that you have to follow. This is merely my opinion, what I would do if I were laid off tomorrow. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Step one, the first thing I would do, which is easier said than done, would be not to panic. And I know that this is especially hard for those of you who are in very dire situations right now, like if you're on a visa and you only have 90 days or so to find a new job before you're kicked out of the US. Of course, it's not easy, but think about it this way. Panic is not going to help you. Panic is just going to make this post-layoff process all the more stressful for you. Instead, try to approach this like an engineering problem in a calm, focused manner with intent and with rigor, with sort of, mathematical thinking or algorithmic thinking. That's going to be much better than being panicked. Now, this leads me to step number 2, which is similar in the sense that it still deals with mindset. It's to try to view this layoff, this unfortunate event that happened to you, as a good thing rather than a bad thing. In other words, I firmly believe that in life, whenever one door closes, another door opens. When an opportunity falls down, another opportunity arises. And so instead of viewing this layoff as some terrible thing that has happened to you, that you're so unlucky, that you lost your dream job, or that you lost your livelihood, instead view it as something potentially exciting. Like now, you are handed on a silver platter the excuse and the opportunity to find a new, better job, perhaps at a company that you're going to prefer, or perhaps in a slightly different software engineering specialization, or whatever field in tech you are. Or perhaps this is a good time for you to kind of relax a little bit and go on an indefinite sabbatical. Maybe you can actually afford to do that. The point is, try to view it as a potentially good thing rather than a bad thing. This is just going to make the entire process much better, and it's likely going to actually turn out to be true. Now, a quick sort of bonus point number 2.5, which really only applies to those people who can afford to relax a little bit and go on a vacation, who don't have to worry about getting a job immediately after they get laid off. What I would urge you to do if you're one of those people is not to be too relaxed. In other words, take advantage of the luxury that you have of being able to afford to take an indefinite sabbatical, but start following all the other steps that I'm about to go through so that you are well equipped to not have to find yourself in that potential panic mode like other people might be, in right now. So that was just, bonus 2.5. Now, step number 3, the first really concrete, actionable thing to do if you've been laid off is to obviously update your resume, your LinkedIn profile, maybe your Twitter, if you're on Twitter, tech Twitter, your GitHub, any sort of public profile or document that is relevant during the job search that you might not have updated in a very long time, you want to make sure to update now. I'm not going to give you tips on how to create a great resume. I've done videos on that in the past. There are tons of other videos out there. But the key point here is that we are in a more challenging, or rather competitive, tech market right now, with so many people being laid off and so many companies hiring less aggressively or not hiring at all. The hiring bar is much higher. So you want to really stand out from the crowd. And one way to stand out is to ensure that your resume, your LinkedIn, all these profiles are really up to date and are very good. So do not skip this step. Do that, day 1, day 2, put some time and effort and you'll be good. Step number 4, in the same vein of the hiring bar being much higher than it was before, the environment being more competitive, you're going to want to make sure that you are as prepared as possible for technical interviews. Because when you do land interviews at companies, you're going to be facing way more competition. So you need to stand out from that competition by performing as best as you can on those technical interviews. Obviously here, I'm going to recommend that you use my company, Algo Expert. We're actually running a limited time offer starting today in view of all these layoffs happening, where you can purchase all 4 interview prep products on our platform. That's Algo Expert, Systems Expert, Front-End Expert, ML Expert, for the price of 1. So basically you can get all your interview prep, algorithms, data structures, systems design, machine learning, front-end, all the interview prep that you might possibly need for the price of only 1 product, and just go through the entire platform, put the time in, practice, practice, practice. You want to stand out in those interviews. I would probably recommend that you spend at least a third of the time during your days prepping for interviews. Step number 5, this is probably going to be the second third of your time during the day that you want to spend on. It's actually applying to jobs. Now, here, the process isn't that much different than when you're applying for a normal job, when you haven't been laid off. But the key distinction that I would make here is that you can take advantage of the layoffs happening to find opportunities. To give you an example, I've seen so many posts on LinkedIn and on Twitter where engineers announce that they've been laid off and they say that they're looking for a job, and these posts just completely blow up with tons of support, tons of recruiters posting that they have openings at their companies and inviting the candidates, the people who posted, to apply to these jobs. And so you can do the same thing. And here, to be clear, you don't even have to be the person creating the post that, blows up. You can just find these posts, and it's not that difficult to find them. Just go on LinkedIn and start looking through your newsfeed for a little bit, and you'll find them. And go through the comments. See all the recruiters who are hiring, who have openings. Talk to people, right? Comment, direct message. These are really good ways to find actual openings, people who are actually empathetic and really want to help people who've been laid off. It's a great way to find a new potential job opportunity. And on that note, I'm going to post on LinkedIn tomorrow, or the morning that I post this video. I'm going to post a post similar to this, where I'm going to invite recruiters and software engineers to share job opportunities, to like the post so that it blows up, it gets as much reach as possible. I'll link the post in the description and in the comments below. And hopefully, if you've been laid off, go on that post, and hopefully you can find, job opportunities or people to connect to, groups, support groups, whatever, okay? I'm going to try to do that. Hopefully it'll help. And yeah, that's step number 5, I think. Step number 6 is going to be to take advantage of this time that you have, not working, this time off, to explore a new subset of software engineering, or a new thing that you might have wanted to do in the past, but that you didn't have time to do because you were working. Well, do it now. And just a random example, if you've been wanting to dip your toes into machine learning, now's a great time. Obviously, that's going to be a little bit less important than actually applying to jobs or actually preparing for interviews. But if you feel like you've got a good handle on these 2 other things, then perhaps you could spend some time dipping your toes in machine learning or in blockchain or in whatever, right? Working on projects. If you've been wanting to do a project that you think could be nice to add to your resume, now's a great time. So try to, compartmentalize your days, maybe 1/3 interview prep, 1/3 applying to jobs, and 1/3 developing some sort of new skill. Or perhaps that's something totally unrelated to tech, just purely personal, that now you kind of have the time to do, and just look at it as a good opportunity to do so. Go back to point number 2, door closes, another door opens. And that's it. These are the 6 pretty simple, pretty straightforward steps to follow if you've been laid off. They're certainly the steps that I would follow if I had been laid off. Let me know what you think about them in the comments below. Do you have any other advice for people who've been laid off? Don't hesitate to share it in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video. Follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter if you enjoy short form written content. Instagram if you like pictures, and I will see you in the next video.